All right, so you're looking at a 2003 Dodge Stratus. I guess she had a warranty on her tires, and they denied the warranty because they said they had suspension issues. So they gave her a list of stuff to do. The first thing we're going to knock off the list is they said it needed a lower control arm and ball joint on the driver's side, left front. So we're going to do that first, and then we're going to file it up. There'll be another video coming behind this on rear ball joints, both sides on this car. So right now we're just going to concentrate on the left front lower control arm. Evidently someone's already replaced the right lower control arm. This is the first time I've worked on this car, so I don't really know a whole lot about her or the history, but she had just brought me a list of things that the other shop said that she needed before she could get alignment and get her tires. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and bust this wheel off. Go ahead and jack your car up, put a jack stand under it. We'll go ahead and bust this wheel off and start taking this lower control arm off, replacing it. Now I bought the entire control arm. You can just buy the ball joints and press them in and out, but whoever said it needed alignment whoever did the alignment said it needed a control arm, so it could be it has possible bushings or something like that bad with it also. So anyway, we'll bust that wheel. Alright, so we got the lower ball joint right here. You're going to have this strut mount that has to come off. You're going to have a sway bar that comes down in the middle, and then your two mounting points to the frame. So the first thing we'll do is take this ball joint loose. You should have a cotter pin in there. Go ahead and remove that, and then this one's 21 millimeter, and just get it open in and start cranking it loose. And then we'll use a pickle fork to separate it. Since we don't care about this ball joint, we're not reusing it. A pickle fork is fine to use. Normally you wouldn't want to use that because you'll ruin the boot, the grease boot right here. But since the new control arm comes with a new pickle fork, I can't speak today. Not a pickle fork, but it comes with a new ball joint. We're not too concerned about the boot on this. And I looked at this control arm. It does have bad bushings in the back, so that's probably why the other place wanted it to be changed. So anyway, just go ahead and thread this off, and then we'll hit this mount next. This is your strut mount, and then we'll go to the sway bar, and then we'll hit the two other mounts in this thing. Alright, so I went ahead and took that nut the rest of the way off, put a pickle fork in between there, and beat on it with a sledge, and small sledge, and you can see here it's separated now. And like I said, you can see here the boot's kind of beat up from doing that. So if you're going to reuse a ball joint for whatever reason, then you wouldn't use a pickle fork. But since we're changing the ball joint and the control arm, it doesn't matter. So the next thing I'm going to hit is this strut mount here. It's a 15 on this side and an 18 millimeter on the other side. I'm going to kind of straighten out the wheel. Alright, so we got a 15 open end on this side, and you got an 18 millimeter on the other side. We'll go ahead and knock that off. Alright, so all I did was just put the impact on it, kind of spin it out, and it's almost out. Put an open end right here. You can kind of push on it while you're spinning it. There you go. So the next thing we'll go for is this big sway bar. So I'll get it set up, and then we'll... Alright, so I'll kind of show you what I did here. This is the top of the sway link right here, and it just spun. Even with putting the hex in the middle, it's rusted out real bad, and it's probably the original sway link. So a lot of times these sway links won't come off without cutting them off. So what I did, I just cut it off at the bottom here, I'm just going to leave it on up here since we're going to replace this whole thing anyway, and I won't need to get this out because I'm getting the new one sent to me. So if yours is all jacked up like that, just cut it off down here, and then it should be able to just slide out. So you have an 18mm bolt right here. It's a long one. It's right by your transmission, and let's see if I get the light in there. It looks like the light's not one. It looks like it won't clear the transmission, but you can once you get it loose, you can kind of angle it out and get it out all the way. And that's for this side. And then on this side here, you have a long bolt that goes through right here. And you're going to have to get an 18mm open end on the other end of the frame. There's a brake line holder there. Just pry that out of the way. It's just a snap-on, snap-off type thing. Just pry it off to the side and hold this with the 18mm. Now this one was really rusty. Had a hard time coming out, but it did come out eventually with the impact. So that is it. So that now this thing should slide out theoretically. So let's try to get it slid out, and then. All right. So it took some serious finagling to get this rear out. I don't know. I don't know if there's something weird with the frame on this car, or if that's just how they are. Usually, you know, these control arms just slide out pretty easily. But anyway, the front slid right out, and then this rear, I had to do a lot of finagling and get a pry bar in there, and I finally got it out. So hopefully the new one slides in a little easier, and maybe there's just something weird going on. I don't know. But anyway, it's out. The bushings are shot in this. You can see, you know, that's probably why they wanted it to change. So we're going to slide the new one in and start putting this thing back together. Alright, so I got it slid back in there. I'm not going to lie, I had a lot of trouble off camera getting this to go back in. I don't know if this car's been in a wreck. There is some damage on it. But I've been doing this for a lot of years. I've never had this much trouble getting the control arm to line back up. I finally got it lined back up. I also had trouble getting the other one out, the factory one. So I don't know if something's tweaked on this car or what the deal is, but man, I really had to fight this to get it to go back in. So anyway, and the trick to lining everything up is to keep the control arm up as high as you can when you're putting it back in. And so anyway, I got the bolts started. You don't want to tighten those. You want to load the suspension up a little bit before you tighten those down all the way, either on the ground or put a jack on your control arm and kind of jack it up about where your tire would normally sit, and then go ahead and torque those bolts down on the lower control, or on the on the frame. And then I got this lined up and started. We got this lined in and started. So I did get the new sway link. We'll have to put that in real quick. But anyway, we'll just go through and we're going to tighten this ball joint up and this wishbone for the strut here. Put the sway link in, and then get this thing loaded up, and then we'll torque down those bolts for the lower control arm. But hopefully yours goes a little easier. I don't, like I said, this is probably, I don't remember a control arm giving me this much trouble in a very long time, if ever. I don't know, but it's in there now, and we're just going to go ahead and do reverse of what we did and start taking it. Alright, so I already went ahead and put the nut on the ball joint here, put a cotter pin through it. Don't forget to grease that. I'll do that last, but you'll just grease that till you see this boot start to puff up and then quit there. Now we're going to put this strut back into the arm. That's a 15 mil on the bolt side and an 18 on the nut side. So you just tighten that back down. Alright, we'll put the sway link in, and then all we're going to do after that is I'm going to jack this up and get it about where it would be sitting on the ground, pretty close to it. And then because I can't get under it, I won't be able to tighten it if I get it all the way down to the ground. This car sits pretty low. So I'm just going to load the suspension up a little bit, and all that does is just put the bushings about where they're usually at resting, and then you tighten it. You tighten down those 2 control arm bolts in the back there, and you're pretty much done. Put the wheel back on, you're ready to go. So it's pretty straightforward. It's not a very complicated job. I just had a lot of trouble with this one for whatever reason. And the sway link is pretty self-explanatory. The new one is pulled out of the box here real quick. Just hooks up exactly how it came off. Just take these nuts off and torque them down. Put them where they belong and torque them down. One goes into the control arm, one goes in the sway bar, and then you're done with that. So I think that's about it. There's really no point in showing how to tighten the rest of the bolts down. Like I said, if you got it up in the air, just load it up a little bit with the jack about where the tire would be normally. Tighten those down, and you're good to go. So I'm going to finish this video up. We got rear ball joints coming up on this car. I'll do next. So anyway, hope to see you on the next one. Have a nice day, and God bless. And thanks for watching.